This video will guide you through how to write your introductory paragraph for your extended writing project, which is a literary analysis essay in English 1. For this lesson, I'm using examples from the short story The Most Dangerous Game, which you read in a previous unit. First, let's check in where you are in this essay writing process. So far, you have gathered the information that you will need for the body paragraphs of your character analysis essay. This was your pre-write chart in step 2. You've created your thesis statement. You've watched a video about the different types of introductory paragraphs. It's now time to write a good introductory paragraph for your essay. Your introductory paragraph is telling the reader what your essay is about. You will be writing 2 different versions of an introductory paragraph for your essay and selecting the best one. For your introductory paragraph, you identify the topic of your essay and narrow the topic down to a thesis statement. It's like a funnel. You go from a wide general piece of information down to the thesis statement. You start out with general information. You provide a statement about that information to give your readers a hook, grab their interest. Let's start with the topic of cell phones. It's a very general topic. The next step is to narrow that down to more specific explanations or information. And that could be Android cell phones. It's a certain type of cell phone. Now, the next step is to identify a thesis statement. This is where you're going to make a statement presenting your viewpoint about something specific. The Samsung Galaxy cell phone is the best value and most durable. You've gone from general information, cell phone, more specific, Android cell phones, and identified a specific cell phone. And stop and look at that sentence. Can you identify the 2 support or reasons? Hopefully you've identified best value and most durable. That's what you would be writing about in your body paragraphs. You've written your thesis statement. Here's the model thesis statement again. You've seen it many times. The character of General Zaroff in Richard Connell's story, The Most Dangerous Game, is a fascinating character because of his contradictory traits of being a charming host and gentleman on the one hand and a ruthless and brutal killer on the other hand. This is a thinking slide. We're going to talk about the thinking process. How do we get from a thesis statement and build up the funnel to the general idea? You've got the bottom part already. You've written your thesis statement. So let's look at the example here and work with it. Think, what would be that big idea, that general statement related to this thesis statement about a character who has 2 different personalities? And how could you get your reader's attention? Here's this character. He's charming and a gentleman, but he's also ruthless and brutal. He has 2 different personalities. He's not who he really seems to be. Think, how could I build on top of that with a more general statement, and then on top of that with my hook? He's charming, he's a gentleman, ruthless and brutal. 2 different personalities, not really who he seems to be. Perhaps some of the big ideas are deception. People deceive people about who they really are. How about keeping secrets? First impressions, sometimes they're not what they seem to be. What about people being fake? Here's a model for The Most Dangerous Game. Here's the funnel. The general information hook sentence I chose is the first impression idea. First impressions about people are not always accurate. Hopefully, my reader is intrigued and interested. Why? Well, why aren't they accurate? More specific information and explanation. It is not unusual for some individuals to seem friendly and helpful when they are first introduced. It can take time to discover that they have a deep and dark secret. And now, our thesis statement. In Richard Connell's The Most Dangerous Game, General Zaroff is a fascinating character because of his contradictory traits of being a charming host and gentleman on the one hand and a ruthless and brutal killer on the other hand. Let's stay right there for a moment. Can you go back up and see how we got there? It's not unusual for people to seem friendly and helpful when they're first introduced. Was that like General Zaroff? First impressions about people are not always accurate. Can you track it backwards to see how we got from general to specific thesis statement? Or the other way around, general information down to thesis statement. Here it is all together written like a paragraph. It's the same text, and notice the judgment words are still there, the writer's viewpoint's still there, the support and reasons are there, all together to lead us to the body paragraphs. Your assignment, as always, is described thoroughly within your course. You may watch this video as many times as you need to understand the process and structure of writing an introductory paragraph. You will write 2 different types of introductory paragraphs for your essay. Follow the steps in this presentation to help you out. And again, the complete instructions for this assignment are in your course.